Building an app? Modern prototyping tools like Figma make it easy to jump right into screen designs. But hold on. Before you dive into the design details, you need to know what problem you're solving and what experience you're going to deliver for your customers. And that's where low-fidelity storyboards come in. Storyboards let you focus on your customer rather than on your screen layouts and on the problem you're solving for them and how they'll be using your product in their lives. In this video, Pavel Samsonov, a design architect at Amazon Web Services, shows us 5 ways that he uses low-fidelity storyboards to build better products. Let's get into it.
People get excited and they say, I have this super cool idea. I'm going to build this feature. It's going to be so great. And they start illustrating the feature. But getting agreement on what the problem actually is, I think is the first thing that a senior practitioner in any discipline needs to do. A lot of the time, people don't spend a lot of time on the problem and they just assume, oh, we need to make this easier. Make this easier is not a problem scope, because there's no solution criteria there. There's nothing you can do that checks off that box. And so this is where the storyboard, I think, helps a lot, because you are forced to talk about the problem rather than jumping to the solution. So you don't have the fidelity to really illustrate the solution. When executives come to you and tell you, I want you to build this widget, they don't really know what they want. So capturing that vision and turning it back to them and saying, is this what you mean, is super critical to get anywhere. Otherwise, you just spend your time chasing features and you never have any impact. In that way, low fidelity artifacts, especially storyboards, are really useful because it actually captures that customer experience without touching any pages, any buttons, anything like that. As soon as you have those things up, in my experience, what happens is they start giving you feedback on the buttons. I want that button there. I want that button above the fold. I want that button in a drop down. But if you don't focus on that, if you look at the experience, they can only give you feedback on the experience. What people think is the weakness of a storyboard is actually the point of using it in the first place. Because once you've put that storyboard together and you can't have a high fidelity solution in there, you're forced to think about, what else do we know? What is the customer problem? What is the context? Stick figures are absolutely good enough. It's all about the content and the minimal amount of visuals required to communicate. When you look at a cartoon as an abstract drawing, you see yourself. You don't see the face of another person. And so in that way, the lower fidelity is actually better, because executives look at this and they don't think of, oh, here is Joe customer using a screen, which is something they deal with every day. They think of, how would it be for myself to have this experience? Is this the experience I would want to have? And a lot of the time, the answer is no. They want me to change it. And then I spend half an hour working on this storyboard instead of days or weeks working on a high fidelity design. You also bring in the context. What are the things around them that are beyond the experience they're having? Not describing the user as someone who only exists as they use your product, but describing them as a real person that exists in their own world. And 5 minutes of their time for that day is taken up with your device, but they're still sharing their attention between you and a ton of other things. And when you have just a scenario, you don't have the fidelity to do that. But when you have a storyboard, you can capture all of that implicitly and bring it up in a discussion, add it to the conversation at that level where it needs to be, not focusing on it, but you keep it in mind. Don't forget it. And it helps you shape your design decisions implicitly. We show these things to customers. A lot of people are really scared of that. They say, what, we're going to embarrass ourselves? We're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. We're going to put a little black and white thing in front of the customer. Customers don't care. They're totally fine with this. They can give you feedback. And if they don't relate to what you've put down, they will tell you. They will say, this makes no sense to me. And once they've done that, that's really when you know you're in the money, because you start asking them, would you relate to? How is your experience different from this? And you've spent half an hour drawing this storyboard. You spent a couple of hours talking to customers. Now you have something to bring back to executives to tell them your assumptions were wrong. And that's so valuable, because you're going to realize at some point or another that the assumptions were wrong. And it's better to realize that at the storyboard stage than at the release stage, when your metrics are not going up, no one's using your product, and now you're the one to blame because you didn't catch it earlier. I do what's called hypothesis-driven design. So forming what is the problem hypothesis? Who is having this problem and when are they having the problem in that user journey? And then contextualizing that problem within the user journey. So the series of tasks they have to perform to get to that goal, then the series of behaviors that make up that task. Because typically that's where you're going to find that problem pain point, and understanding what task they're part of and what goal they all roll up to helps you determine which pain points are the most valuable to solve in the first place. We want to figure out the first right thing to build. We can't fix every single problem your company has in one fell swoop.
Lo-fi storyboards are a great tool for understanding how your customer might experience your product in their world. Storyboards are great because they're quick to draw, quick to revise, and clearly not the end product. And that's why storyboards are actually better at testing your end-to-end customer experience than high-fidelity mock-ups or sketches. Less false positives and more actionable insights. If you want more tips on how to create and use low-fidelity storyboards, download our free cheat sheet, gamethinking.io/storyboards. The link is in the description. Let's get smarter together. I'll see you in the next video.